Reneus and the Dinosaur. Reneus and Skarloey are the best of friends. They love working together. And they enjoy shunting freight cars. They biff them, and they bash them all day long. That summer, some men from the Sodor Museum had found some very old bones. When they put the bones together, they made the skeleton of a dinosaur. That morning, a photographer arrived on the island to photograph the dinosaur. Thomas was to take him to the transfer yards. At the transfer yards, Mr. Percival was talking to his engines.
The dinosaur will soon be ready to go to the Sodor Museum, Mr. Percival said. I will need 2 very careful engines to collect it.
Reneus and Skarloey were very excited.
We can be really careful, puffed Reneus. Watch.
Reneus shunted some freight cars gently together. But Skarloey was too excited to be careful. The narrow gauge controller was cross.
Reneus and Skarloey, you are not careful engines, Mr. Percival said. I will have to choose 2 other engines to collect the dinosaur. But I can be careful, said Reneus. Let me try again, please.
Very well, Mr. Percival said. But this is your last chance.
Thank you, sir,
said Reneus happily. Skarloey was sad.
I'm sorry I biffed the freight cars, he whistled quietly. But I'm sure we could take the dinosaur together. No, said Reneus. I'll show Mr. Percival I could do it on my own.
And he steamed away. Later, Reneus had to take some coal to the station houses. The cars were very heavy for him on his own. His pistons pounded, and his axles ached. But Reneus kept going.
Must take the dinosaur. Must take the dinosaur, he puffed.
Later at the transfer yards, Mr. Percival came to see Reneus.
Reneus, you have worked very hard today, said Mr. Percival kindly, and pulled very heavy freight cars, very carefully on your own.
This made Reneus very proud.
So, I have decided you can collect the dinosaur, Mr. Percival added. But are you sure you can do it on your own? Yes, sir, I'm sure, whistled Reneus. He was very happy. And Skarloey, called Mr. Percival, you will collect empty freight cars from the timber yards. Yes, sir, peeped Skarloey sadly.
He watched Reneus race quickly away to collect the dinosaur. Reneus chuffed cheerfully through the mountains. But when Reneus arrived to collect the dinosaur, he was surprised. The dinosaur was very, very big. But Reneus was sure he was strong enough to pull it. He coupled up to the flatbed and pulled with all his puff. He started to puff his way back to the yards. Reneus blew his whistle as he puffed through Middle Station. Everyone thought the dinosaur skeleton was wonderful. And they all gave Reneus a big cheer. Reneus was very proud. Reneus was puffing slowly up a hill. But the flatbed was too heavy. His puff was going, and his pistons could hardly pump. Reneus puffed slower and slower. Then he rolled back down the hill. He could go no further.
Oh, no,
he moaned.
I'll never get the dinosaur to the transfer yards now.
Reneus felt terrible. Then he remembered his friend.
I wish Galore was here to help me, he sighed.
Galore was still on his way to collect freight cars from the timber yards. As he came around the bend in the line, he was very surprised to see a dinosaur blocking the track.
Out of my way!
Galore tooted loudly. Reneus heard Galore.
Galore, he cried, I need your help. The dinosaur is too heavy for me. I can't pull it on my own.
Galore was still upset with Reneus. He didn't want to help.
I was silly to think I could pull this on my own, puffed Reneus sadly. It needs 2 engines, and I need you. From now on, I'll always want us to work together.
That made Galore feel much better, and he buffered up to the flatbed to help his friend. Together, they pushed the dinosaur safely up the hill and all the way back to the yards. Reneus and Galore puffed happily into the transfer yards, just as Thomas arrived with the photographer. Reneus and Galore had their picture taken with the dinosaur. They were delighted. They were both pleased to be friends again, and they both agreed that working with your friend is the best job of all.